Shabbat Shalom.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's really nice to see you. I'm happy to be up here with Carl Cedar, who is joining me on the Bima tonight for music and to help us focus our tefillot, our prayers, upwards towards God and inwards towards ourselves. A few words of welcome before we begin. If you need to leave the room, there are exits there and there and there. Restrooms, if you need them, are out and to the right. If you end up outside, you have gone too far. Please turn your phones off unless you're a doctor on call or have another reason where it should be on vibrate, and if so, then please excuse yourself from the service in order to take the call. We know it happens sometimes, and we love you, and we hope that you'll be able to keep the phones off or down. That is all for announcements. To begin, I'd like to invite some folks up for candle lighting. Is there anyone who is observing a yard site tonight who would like to come up and participate in candle lighting? Okie dokie. May I invite the fearless commander of the Bee Sisters? Would you be willing? One of the committees with which I'm proud to be associated as your staff support person. All right, please rise. All members of the Bee Sisters who would like to join your fearless leader, please come forward. Bee Sisters. Bee Sisters. No? No takers? Lighting is on page 1.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Bee Sisters. We're going to continue now. Moving ahead to Lachadodi. Lachadodi is on page 18. We're going to be doing 1, 3, 5, and 9.
Lecha lecha dodi, lekra lekrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, lekra lekrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nikabela. La 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 la. Lecha dodi, lekra lekrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, lekra lekrat kala, Panei Panei Shabbat Nikabela. שמו וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל עמך, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה, לה 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 לה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומצאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבת בימי הבכה, והוא יחמו עליכם לה 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 לה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לה 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 לה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Do we rise here and face the doorway to greet the Shabbos bride? Boi v'shalom ateret bala, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Continue on page 22, Chatzi Kaddish. You may rise if it is your custom at this time.
יקדש ויקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברת חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייך וביומך ובחיי דכו בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ומרו, יש ברבו מבורך, והעולם ולעולמי המאיה, יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה, לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן ביומא ומרו.
Amen. Page 23, Baruch Hu.
Yai dai 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 yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai dai dai yai yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai dai Baruch Hu המבורך,
Please turn to page 25 and join me halfway down in the English. 25. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the day, evening into being, who skillfully opens the gates, who thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are the creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night, distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzavaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. 27.
Ahavat olam beYisrael Amecha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah umizot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadita Otanu lemadita Al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shachveinu Uvkumenu nasiha uchkecha V'nizman b'divrei Toratecha Uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu V'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yom havalayla yom nege yom havalayla V'avatcha al tasir mimenu li'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohei Amo Yisrael Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Page 29, Shema, you may rise if you wish to rise at this point. 29.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Be seated.
Et Adonai Elohecha
B'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha. 31. B'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinamtam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha Uvlechtecha b'derech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, ve'ayu letotafot beinecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Leman tizkaru vasitem et kol mitzvotai, V'tem kedoshim leloechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, li'olechem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem Emet. We'll continue on 37, page 37.
Mi chamoch ba'elim Adonai, mi chamoch neder ba'kodesh, Nora tehilo osei fele, Nora tehilo osei fele. Mi chamoch ba'elim Adonai, mi chamoch neder ba'kodesh, Nora tehilo osei fele, Nora tehilo osei fele. One more time. Mi chamoch ba'elim Adonai, mi chamoch neder ba'kodesh, Nora tehilo osei fele, Nora tehilo osei fele.
V'nemar kifar Adonai et Yaakov v'kol mi'ad hazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai gal Yisrael. Page 39. Page 39.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeitzenu uvoenu lechaim ulshalom me'ata v'ad olam. Baruch atah Adonai Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim v'al kol yoshvei tevel.
Please rise for Vishamru. Page 41.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. Wait for it. שמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. בני ובן בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את Shabbat, la sode ha-Shabbat, le Dora tamburito lam, Veshamru, Bnei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la sode ha-Shabbat, le Dora tamburito lam.
We will continue now with the silent standing Amidah on 43. We'll start out together with the first line. I'll sing it, and you're welcome to join me, and then everyone will have 3 to 5 minutes to center yourselves as we go into Shabbat. Adonai sefatav tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Speaking to God, please continue at your own pace. If you have concluded your silent reflection, page 59, Ose Shalom. 59.
Ose Shalom Bimroma, Yase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Yase Shalom. Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael. Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael. Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen.
It's time now for us to turn our thoughts to those who are in need of healing. As I point in your direction, if there are names of people who you know who need healing, I invite you to share them with us at this time. add to those names the families of the victims of the shooting at Cook's Corner this last week, and I only recently learned of another shooting, I believe, in Pittsburgh, and our hearts go out to the families of the victims. We also pray for support for those in our community without access to housing or health care. Please join me on 63 for Mi Sheberach.
Mi Sheberach Avoteinu Mikor HaBracha L'Imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi Sheberach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha L'Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. We are coming up on the high holiday season, and the theme of high holidays is forgiveness. So around this time of year, I occasionally speculate on a gaping wound afflicted on our collective body. And I always wonder if that wound will be too big to heal. Not only was I thinking about that question this week, what happens when there are actions taken by people that cannot be undone, but this week we saw shootings practically in our own backyard at Cook's Corner. You can almost see it from here. It's at the base of Majeska Canyon over there. And we should ask ourselves, how do we respond to these tragedies? Do we respond with despondency or with hope? It's a tough question. So I want to discuss this in the rabbinic way, by way of a test case. And that test case is, should a rabbi drive a German car? If this touches a nerve for you, if you've heard this question, should a rabbi drive a German car before, just put your hand up. Have you ever run into this anywhere? Some of you have. So let me be explicit. I ask the question because since the Shoah, that is the Holocaust, there has been a generally held opinion that rabbis should not drive German cars. Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen, we're not supposed to drive them. Why not, you may be asking yourselves? Because according to some of us, we should maintain a permanent state of what we would call, what is now called boycott, divestment, and sanctions against Germany as perpetrator of the Holocaust. In my experience, this viewpoint was most strongly held by the generations that were directly touched by the Shoah, who were the silent generation and their parents. And I remember hearing from my grandparents, my grandfathers who had fought in the Second World War, rabbis should not drive German cars. You shouldn't, no matter how nice the suspension is, no matter how fast 0 to 60, you shouldn't do it. Out of respect for our dead and dispossessed of the Third Reich, we should also not give Germany our tourism dollars or any of the German companies our money. And some Israeli Jews early on, right before and after the creation of the state, tried to remove German culture completely by banning Mozart and the speaking of German in many quarters. This was the generation that experienced the Holocaust. The view that the rabbi should not drive a German car is less prevalent, though still prevalent, in the children of the silent generation, my baby boomer friends. This taboo is still fairly strong, but it's less pronounced. My baby boomer friends seem to be cool with Mozart, but still begrudge Richard Wagner. The composer Wagner, anybody? So there's still a little bit, and if you don't believe me, and if you want a data point, Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? Season 2, episode 3, when Larry David whistles a Wagner tune and he gets told he's an anti-Semite. So, should rabbis drive German cars? I guess we should first ask ourselves, did the German state try to apologize to us for the Holocaust? Did they try to give us reparations? Yes, they did. After the Second World War, the West German state began paying reparations to Jews within a decade of the end of the war and formally apologized. But for Jews at that time, the wound was still too fresh. The pain borne under Nazism was too proximate to feel good about any reparations, any public apology. And in 1951, there was a debate in the Knesset over the proposed reparations from West Germany to the State of Israel. And you can feel the pain of this generation summed up in the following interaction. Elimelech Remalt of the General Zionist Party was heard to say at this time when these debates were happening that his children said to him, "How much will we get for grandma and grandpa?" Blood money. And as controversial as it was, the reparations were accepted by the State of Israel, and controversial as this is to say, those reparations helped build the infrastructure to make Israel the state that it is today. There's no way of getting around the history of that. But then that means that the taboo about rabbis not driving German sports cars or sedans or electric cars or the vans that you can turn into a camper van, whatever your thing is that you like, does it hold up? Does the taboo hold up if the Germans tried to make amends? Does it hold up? Or is there something about Germany and Germans that deserves to be condemned forever? It's an open question. In this week's Torah portion, who knows what it is? Extra points you get out of Yom Kippur. Who knows what it is? Ki Teitze, very good. Ki Teitze, we're in Deuteronomy. Moses is giving his farewell speech. And as he's getting ready to say goodbye to the Israelites that he has shepherded through good times and bad, the question comes up. The Torah asks a version of the question I asked. You were just liberated from the hands of your oppressors. May an Israelite priest drive an Egyptian chariot? The Torah answers the question by saying, Deuteronomy 23:9, children born to the Egyptians may be admitted to the tribe, that is, they may become one of us after 3 generations. In other words, when you're 3 generations past the trauma of an event, in this case slavery, you can drive an Egyptian chariot. Because the wounds of slavery are not considered to be as fresh, and the national character of both the Egyptians and the Israelites will have changed in 3 generations. And you don't need to believe me because I'm going to quote another older rabbi at you, which is what we rabbis do to prove that we're right about something. I'm going to quote you someone named Hezkiah ben Manoach, also known by the title of his work, the Hizkuni, writing in the 13th century. That's CE. With Jewish text, you always have to say CE or BCE because you're never quite sure. So he says the following: the 3rd generation. Why does the Torah say you can admit them after the 3rd generation? Because at that point, the relationship to the original Egyptian culture during the time of slavery is no longer considered meaningful in the character development of their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So does the Hizkuni agree that an Israelite priest may drive an Egyptian chariot? Yeah, you're with me so far? We're not done. It gets weird. Buckle up. Okay, so it's possible a few of you, any Mizrahi Jews here? Mizrahi Persian Jews? Okay. Some of you may be saying, in your head, if you're Mizrahi, but Rabbi Rosner, many Persian rabbis do drive a Mercedes. They love a good Mercedes. Leather interior, good suspension, nice when you park it in front of the synagogue, right? That's an excellent point, I might say. But why do Persian rabbis drive Mercedes? Because, does anyone know? You get out of 3 years of Yom Kippur if you know this one. Do you know? Who knows? You can guess. Yes. Correct. And there is a codicil on that. You get off of 1 of 2 days of Yom Kippur this year. Okay, so the deal is, historically, the Persian Jewish community were big fans of the Shah of Iran. Very well supported and liked by the Shah and liked the Shah in return. And when they were expelled by the Ayatollahs, the expats got a little annoyed with the Ayatollahs, and because the Mercedes was the car of the Shah's family, they drive a Mercedes to stick it to the Ayatollahs. Has nothing to do with Nazism at all. Now, we must narrow our question. If this doesn't count for Persian Jews, and it doesn't count probably for Ethiopian Jews and Jews from Cochin, and Jews who, well, we'll come back to that in just a second. I don't want to give away the ending. So we can see now that the boycott by rabbis against German cars is not universal. Germans are not eternally, universally evil. It's mainly an American Ashkenazi Jewish custom. And I am a millennial. I am now 3 generations removed from the Holocaust. But not only am I 3 generations removed, but the Germans are 3 generations removed. And while Nazism left a mark on the German national psyche, many German millennials would balk at the idea that there's a German ethno-national character. They would say, that's last century, Grandpa, leave me alone. Very different. And interestingly, recently, lots of Germans have been converting to Judaism. So that Torah verse, remember that Torah verse where I said Egyptians can join the tribe after 3 generations? It may have been intended to read, Egyptians will want to join your tribe, because there is something deep in the human psyche about identifying with the people that your grandparents oppressed. So you may find a wave of Egyptians a few generations out wanting to become Jews. And in fact, you could speculate if the Torah is correct, then we should now see the same behavior from Germans. And not just from any Germans, one might speculate that even the descendants of Nazis, of prominent Nazis, might be trying to convert to Judaism after a few generations. And, as it turns out, from The Independent, March 2006, quote, the 49-year-old physiotherapist and descendant of Hermann Goering, Adolf Hitler's right-hand man, Matthias Goering, is wearing a Jewish skull cap and a Star of David pendant. After being brought up to despise the Jews, he embraced the faith. And although he has yet to formally convert, this is 2006, he keeps kosher, he celebrates Shabbat, and he's learning Hebrew. Mr. Goering also had positive feelings about the state of Israel. Quote, it feels like home. Israelis are so friendly. Even when they hear my name, they say they are thankful that I have taken this step and made contact with them. I'm going to pause for like 5 seconds for people to whisper to each other if you want. Okay. In my youth, the Shoah was a gigantic gaping wound in our collective body. And we were told it might never heal. Now, generations from the Shoah, now that the third generation out are adults, the scar tissue is beginning to form. Make no mistake, anti-Semitism is alive and well, and neo-Nazis are a force to be reckoned with, but the association of it with the German state and German culture has diminished. This should give us enormous hope. Even the most intractable conflict can heal or start to heal after time and goodwill. Healing is possible between our national political parties, between the US and China, between Israel and its present collection of enemies, and there are many. And even existential crises like nuclear proliferation could be surmounted. There is hope if healing, even the tiniest little bits of healing that we're beginning to feel around the edges of the wound of the Shoah, if that's possible, then anything is possible. And this should be a cause for relief and hope. But in a world where you cannot sit and enjoy your $8 spaghetti under the stars at your favorite watering hole, there are moments when I opened up the news and I saw, when my wife sent me the article initially, that people were dying right over there being shot. There was a moment where there was a very bleak moment. Oh God, not here, not right over there. And then I thought about it and I thought, this is a wound that's going to affect these families for generations, but eventually it will heal, because if healing is possible around a wound like the Shoah, anything is possible. So yes, I believe, as a millennial Ashkenazi rabbi, I can drive a German car. At the same time, I believe that the Shoah was one of the most consequential and damaging events in Jewish history, and my own family tree is missing limbs because of Nazis. I've studied the Shoah. I've visited sites of martyrdom and deportation and mass graves, and I honor and respect the memory of the Shoah alongside the Kishinev pogrom, the Chmelnytsky massacre, Masada and Beitar and Pittsburgh. Other times when we have been wounded, like we were wounded during the Shoah. Yet I believe, despite all that, that I, a millennial Ashkenazi American Jewish rabbi, can drive a German car. All that being said, As it turns out, I drive a Toyota. Shabbat Shalom. Please rise for Aleinu on page 64. Page 64 for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המון. מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים.
Top of 65.
ושכינתו זו, שכינתו זו, בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים עמם, והארץ מתחת אין עוד, אין עוד.
Page 64, halfway down.
66. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You may be seated. It is time now to turn our minds to those who are not with us physically, but whose memories inspire good action during our lifetimes. I will start by reading the community yard site list. If you have additional names, I will ask you to share them after. If I say a name of someone for whom you are observing yard site, please rise. This week we mourn the passing of our member David Epstein and David Feldman. And this week we observe the following yard sites: Michael Robert Alterbaum, Edna Arzt, Charlie David Berg, Burl Bonner, Morris Boxer, Joseph Brown, Joseph Cherry, Shirley Eisenberg, Irving William Fishman, Libby Fremer, Joseph Galatz, Sophie Gang, William Gilson, Jacob Goldman, Mickey Goldstein, Charlotte Golkin, Mac Gould, Arnold Dale Grotham, William Gewurz, Edith Kallick, Marcy Nortel Casper, Michael Kite, Bagi Yitzhak Kohanteb, Edward Lang, Howard Ledeen, Shepard Morris, Florence Namias, Leah Pariser, Isaac Politis, Barry Price, Erwin Walter Resnick, Robert Resnick, Irene Roberts, Lorraine Rubenstein, Philip Rubin, Victor Saltz, Florence Saltz, Cynthia Scher, Ben Schlonsky, Herbert Schronk, Irina Segelson-Rudolfer, Dr. Jules Shapiro, Sarah Sloan, Kitty Sorokin, Robert Stern, Israel Talby, and Ina Welland. And we continue to remember those who have passed away during the last year: Martin Cole, Zita Gluskin, Leslie Heinel, Dorothy Eisen, Judith Kovach, and Marianne Wellickson. If you have additional names, please rise as I point in your direction. Thank you. I ask if the community would rise for Mourner's Kaddish on 73. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba be'alama divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam olmei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shmei dukucha b'rechu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Righto, announcements. Firstly, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's really lovely to see all of you and to see so many of you in August as we head towards high holidays. I would like to say to our members, thank you. We are like PBS. Everything we do is thanks to your generosity and support. And with that in mind, I would like to thank the following members who joined or renewed last week: David and Madeline Berkeley, Amanda Stolter, Amanda Wallman, Amanda and Michael Stolter, Amanda and Michael Wallman, Stephen Beth Vaskowitz, Glenn and Elizabeth Olsheim, Arthur and Eleanor Rosen, Jeff and Janelle Grousman, Gil and Claire Winograd, David Rock, Leslie and Jeffrey Reisner, Joni Kirschenbaum, and Susan and Brent Wanstreet. I would also like to say to our guests, we hope you're having a good time and that you will join us again and eventually become members. And now I also would like to thank Carl Cedar for his beautiful singing and musicality tonight, and thank you to all of you for joining in on the singing. Additional things, we are looking for folks who would like to join our Hinenu team. That's our team that cares for those who are ill and in need of a call or a shiva. So if you're the kind of person who loves caring for others, reach out and we will attach you to the Hinenu team so we can continue to take care of our members in need. Torah studies available at 9 a.m. on Saturdays on Zoom. The high holidays are approaching. It's time to renew your membership, as you heard. We are also starting a daytime book club. If you enjoy reading, there will be an informational meeting at 10:30 a.m. on September 6th. Additionally, Rosh Chodesh is coming. Join us for our first Rosh Chodesh celebration, of the year, I suppose, October 16th at 9:30 a.m. More details forthcoming. On August 29th at 7:30 p.m., our World of Judaism class will be preparing for the high holidays, and also at 7 p.m., all women are welcome to our Lilith Salon, hosted by the Bee Sisters in the Schmooze Cafe right over there. For those who are interested in learning more, Debbie Grinikoff is right here, the head of Bee Sisters, and there are Bee Sisters scattered amongst you to whom you may ask additional questions. Are there other announcements from board members of the community? Open mic? Haikus? Nothing? Okay. Yes. Oh, yes.
Thank you. I believe that there's still a need for ushers for High Holy Days. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have 2 halot to send on their way as well. We have a custom here, for those who may not know, of sending halot out for delivery with folks on Friday night. So if you are going this direction and are willing to drop it off, is anyone headed towards Laguna Woods? No. Anybody? Laguna Woods. Laguna Woods! Okay. Also, I'm supposed to let you know that when you arrive... Okay. You got voluntold.
So there you go. I think. What a mitzvah, Sherry.
What a mitzvah. Look at that. You got mitzvah told. That's how you become you end up on committee chairmanships. Okay. Second one. This one is going to Lantern Bay and Dana Point. Who's headed towards Dana Point? 2 years before the mast. Anybody? Nobody? Richard Henry Dana? Come on. All right. That's the extent of my Dana Point trivia, is that book. Okay. Please remember to call and let them know that you are coming, because apparently people have been sort of showing up sort of like Mormon outreach style at the door, like, hey, we brought you challah and the good word, and people are like, oh, we weren't expecting you. Okay. Great. That concludes our announcements portion, and we're going to conclude with Adon Olam 191. Please, 191.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra Le'ed Nasa B'chefso kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh V'hu Yiyeh B'tifara V'hu Echad V'en Sheni Le'amshilo L'chach Bira V'li Reshit V'li Tachlit V'lo Ha'oz V'ha'misra V'hu Eli V'chai Goali V'tzur Chevli V'etzara V'hu Nisi Umanosli Menat Kosi Be'omek V'abiyado Afkir Ruchi Be'edishan Ve'ahira Ve'maruchi Geviati Adonai Li V'lo Ira. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for having me, Rabbi. Thank you, Ellen Prince, for inviting me.
Everyone is invited to the social hall for Kiddush and Motzi social hall out that door to the right. The longer you delay, the longer you have to wait to eat.
Thanks, Moshe.